Hello ladies and gents, this is Cromer Zero, and today we're talking about Zephyr. So, I've got a couple ideas as far as different variations that you can do for this one, but the biggest thing is we are focused on the jet stream. We're going to be comboing Zephyr with the Tonkor, and the biggest thing with terminal velocity and on the Tonkor and 175% power strength with the jet stream on. You'll be able to shoot the Tonkor and it explodes on impact. So we're going to get into a little bit of the details on the build here. We've got energy siphons, so we've got some energy coming in. I would suggest running the Zephyr focus, so you can eventually get a lot more coming in. Your efficiency isn't the greatest in the world, but you've got some. And between the Zephyr focus and the energy siphon, for longer runs, that should keep you up and going. I have Aviator in this slot, mostly because when I play her, I like to stay up in the air or some high perched kind of location, and this really helps with, maybe something does get through the turbulence, which is her third ability, which is what we're going to presumably have up at all times. This should help, at least when you're in the air, to take a little bit of, less damage. And I'll talk about some of the alternatives later. Prime Continuity, Constitution, you want to keep your duration up as long as possible. You want that turbulence going, so the less you need to cast it, effectively the more efficient it is. Streamline, of course, for efficiency. Transient Fort, ideally you would want a lesser ranked one, because you're aiming for the 175. So maybe 2 ranks off of this, so you're looking at maybe an 8 out of 10. Maybe less if you had the Power Drift mod, which will give you, you can replace this with Power Drift. That's 15% there. You're going to take off another, 3 ranks, so maybe you're looking at, maybe my math is incorrect, but maybe you're looking at a 5 out of 10 Transient Fort, which will give you even more duration, which should be actually not bad at all. Intensify, of course, for power strength, and stretch and vigor. So, admittedly, I don't want to put another format on Zephyr. Eventually I'm going to, because there's going to be the Prime Vigor, so I'm going to need to put a D slot in there for some extra. But why do I run Vigor? I like the Vigor because it gives you a little bit of extra health, so if there's any toxic Eximuses in the area, you don't have to worry as much. You've got a good chunk of buffer, and you've got some, extra shields. And shields are nice because they recharge. She doesn't have much armor. It's pretty much minimal. So, any damage reduction from armor is pretty much non-existent. As far as the stretch, so there's 2 layers to turbulence. Let's check out the ability here. So, so unfortunately, it doesn't really explain this very well, but so at your range of 8.7 is your initial shield, and when enemies shoot, it'll hit that shield and it should send them off. There is a secondary layer, unless they change that, that's much farther out. I don't know why it doesn't have it listed here, but it should. And that secondary layer decreases the enemy's accuracy. So I like that extra size, so that it also minimizes their accuracy, so they're not hitting me or my allies as much. Also with the turbulence, that extra width will help keep the buff on my allies. And so As far as the Tonkor, again, you know, you've got your terminal velocity. Once you have that and the 175 power strength and the jet stream mod, that will allow the Tonkor to explode on impact. You've got your serration and split chamber for your base, you know, increased damage. Prime fast hands because it takes a while to reload, and I really want to minimize that. Point strike for a critical chance, and vital sense for crit damage, and then I've got infected clip and high voltage. So I've got a little bit of status effect and a little bit of extra damage focus here. Kind of split there. I could probably use another forma in here to toss in another dash slot. I should probably do that. I'm honestly just a little bit too lazy. For the most part, this wrecks as is. Unfortunately, nowadays you don't get as much headshot credit as you used to with the Tonkor from what I've heard, so I'm not putting this in anywhere. If I did, maybe I would just focus on like a fire element. Yeah. And then for your secondary near melee. So for the most part, you're not going to be melee much, so I'd go with dual anchors. They're very fast. You have a decent crit chance, so crit chance 40%, 5.7 multiplier. You can get, you know, a couple attacks off very quickly when your butchers come in. And then first for some lifesteal. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Later.